Hello, my name is Victoria Vidal, and this is my video essay for LIS 5566. I'm going to be reading from a script that I wrote. So growing up, all the media I consumed tended to look more like my mother and her side of the family rather than my father. My mom is from, her family's from America, like the continental U.S., and my dad is from Puerto Rico, and his whole family is from there. So growing up, most of my media looked like my mother's side of the family. She's a beautiful woman with beautiful skin, blonde hair, and wonderful green eyes. My books often reflected girls who looked like my mother, along with many shows, movies, and toys. I have olive skin, brown hair, well, naturally brown hair, and brown eyes, and I look much more like my father and virtually none of my mother's traits. I remember begging my family when I was 8 to bleach my hair so I would be beautiful. I had a single story of what beautiful could be based on the books and other media that I consumed as a young child. The books I read as a child mainly reflected the experiences of others. I saw windows into their experience. Past the age of 10, I lived only with my father. Following a nasty divorce, very few stories had a present father, let alone a single father. Most stories I read had a classic nuclear family, and if they were different from that, they were single mothers, not single fathers. So I tended to see, more windows and sliding glass doors rather than any mirrors. There were a couple stories where I could find a mirror, but those tended to come into play as I became an adult with more diversity coming into children's literature and media. I see my role as someone who can provide mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. As the storyteller for children at Barnes & Noble in the past, I would choose books with diverse representations of people, families, and more. I did this to be sure that all families could be shown at story time and for other children to see all different types of people and families that are out there in the world. Something that would further influence my role as an MLY librarian is something called UDL, or the Universal Design for Learning. This takes into account the differing abilities and circumstances of children and makes activities and learning automatically accessible for all, not needing separate accommodations for those who need them. For example, adding increased opportunity for movement to a story time for all, increase movement for story time for all children, not just children who need this because of ADHD, ADD, etc. With this in mind, I would always try to include multicultural literature in everything I do with children's literature, so the students represented in the books do not think they are only represented at specific points throughout the year. Yes, there could be more books about Latin Americans during Latin American Heritage Month, for example. I use this example because of my heritage, but they would be represented throughout the year as well, not just during that special time period. I expect this course to contribute to my complete knowledge of multicultural children's literature and help me with my skills in collection development through the list assignments. Also, the promotion assignments will aid in my practice and skill if I ever need to promote a multicultural program or program in general at a library or the school where I work. I currently am a high school ELA teacher, and I try to include as many differing points of views and backgrounds as possible whenever I am allowed to choose my instructional material. Thank you so much, and have a great day or night.